Hey guys, hi everybody. This is Ali. So this is my final part of presentation, and here I would like to tell you about rural migrant women's engagement in Chinese sex industry. So here I highlighted four research questions. What is the reason behind for more rural migrant women's engagement in Chinese sex industry? What kind of challenges these women involved have to face? How effective are the localist networks among migrant women in Chinese sex industry, and what policy responses have Chinese government implemented to minimize prostitution? All right, let's move on. During the Mao period, the prostitution was strictly prohibited and eliminated in China. However, this transformation in the sex industry can largely be attributed to recent unprecedented market-driven reforms in post-socialist China. The dramatic socio-economic transitions that have ensued over the past 4 decades have led to more individual freedom and the liberation of sexual mores. As a result, large-scale migration was followed with the rural migrants' young women's involvement in sex industry in Chinese cities. During the last decades, among all arrested sex workers, floating migrants population composed roughly 50%. Although existing estimates by China's Ministry of Public Security of the illegal population of workers vary dramatically, the number of female sex workers is proliferating. Between 3 and 10 million women are estimated to be currently involved. And in addition to that, because of the hukou residency system, rural residents still cannot apply for certain jobs in the cities. Economic reforms brought a lot of opportunities, but uneducated rural women really missed out. Faced with gender-based discrimination in the workforce and diminishing opportunities in education, unfortunately, rural women and girls are compelled to enter the sex industry. In the next two slides, I would like to focus on one research conducted by Professor Zheng Tintian, who is Chinese researcher oriented on women's rights and sexuality. She conducted her fieldwork research to explore and understand the complexity of the lives of rural migrants karaoke bar hostesses in China's urban sex industry in the city of Dalian, which is in Liaoning province. So guys, if you're interested in this topic, you may find a full paper uploaded in e-learning. So these hostesses are young women who accompany men by drinking, singing, dancing, playing games, flirting, chatting. But beyond the standard service package, some hostesses offer sexual services for additional price. And Professor Zhang conducted her research by sampling around 200 hostesses from 3 different karaoke bars in Dalian city over the period of 20 months. So there are some difficulties and violences which these hostesses unfortunately have to face on a regular basis. And as for the lowest level bars, which were more popular among criminal clients, and moreover, those some criminals themselves owned such karaoke where there is a high possibility for armed conflicts among clients to happen. Unfortunately, hostesses could be victims of such conflicts. In addition, those gangsters, as a client and staff member, used to rape the most beautiful hostesses while beat less beautiful ones. And those hostesses who are willing to leave the karaoke and move to the other one are also threatened by previous karaoke staff to physical violence. One moment that also make it more convenient for men to be violent toward these hostesses and even murder them is that girls don't disclose their real identity. For example, in Dalian city, hostesses' bodies have been found in the street dead, but police haven't been able just to identify them. Secondly, those luxury high-level bars, karaoke bars, expect mandatory minimal bill from each client to be paid, and therefore karaoke administration force hostesses to consume more alcohol with clients by sharing drinking. Because of this daily alcohol overdose, most hostesses not only put on weight which led to other self-destructive weight loss practices, but also developed stomach problems, which in severe cases resulted in hospitalization. And of course, it is needless to mention about high risk of getting HIV among them. And according to WHO, around 1.25 million people in China suffer both HIV and AIDS by the end of 2018, where around 90% of all infections are transferred in sexual way. And finally, in those karaoke bars which were not protected by criminal cohorts, more frequent police raids used to happen. Officially, provision of sexual services is prohibited in China, and according to the law, both women and clients involved could be arrested up to 15 days or fined up to 5,000 RMB. And therefore, the Ministry of Public Security employs a complex system of raids to attack karaoke bars and other suspicious places where sex workers could gather. Those units and individuals that perform well in among officials measured in terms of the number of hostesses arrested and amount of fines levied, receive high honors and cash bonuses from their municipal government. But one of the worst things a police official could do is to send the woman back to her hometown, to the rural place, and expose her. And if woman's family find out about her sex work, she could be disowned. All right, let's move on. Here we're gonna talk about localist networks. So what is it? Localist networks are alliances of or small groups among rural migrants based on their blood relations, rural identity, and exchange of benefits. Okay, firstly, let's review some strong sides of localist networks. Uh, First one, researchers in China highlight the centrality of native place for migrant workers, political alliances, and networks in major Chinese cities to provide financial and emotional support in organizing protests and strikes. In times of collision or conflicts with urbanities, for example, sex workers with rural backgrounds temporarily united to confront the street. And finally, alliances based on an exchange of benefits were equally strong. They can promote other girls to higher level of karaoke bars, for example, to earn more money or introduce to high clients. However, regardless of the basis of localist network formation, there are some weak sides which make this coalition unstable and fleeting. First, competition among hostesses for scarce resources and more wealthy clients provided strong incentives to betray group members. They struggled to discard their rural roots and competed with other rural migrants to attain upward mobility to better environment. Secondly, sex workers are always mobile. They meet by chance. They constantly come and go. This nomadic lifestyle robs them of any sense of responsibility or duty toward each other. Hence, they don't have the leisure to help each others. And finally, because their work sites were subject to regular police raids each year, mobilization was highly circumscribed by political repression and hostesses' lack of political resources. In view of this reason, it was not surprising that hostesses evinced little motivation for mobilization. All right, here I want to cover some public policy responses from governments. However, before it should be added that except arrests and fines, in the early 80s, Chinese Ministry of Public Security launched a policy of custody and re-education in special centers. And only around one-tenth of those codes buying or selling sex underwent custody and education. They could be detained in such centers for 6 months and up to 2 years. Since sex workers were poorly educated with rural backgrounds, such custody and education centers focuses was oriented on teaching legal knowledge, moral characters, and useful skills. Attempting to provide people a better life is a noble goal, but such efforts were inhibited by poor management practices, unprofessional staff, and limited funding. Although there are no reliable statistics on what happens to detainees after they are released, investigations by social workers suggest that it is difficult for women caught in prostitution to change your profession afterwards. Whatever the cause, in practice, custody and education disproportionately targeted members of the lower class and vulnerable groups, didn't bring about real education reform, and had no obvious effects on the sex trade. Some cash-strapped police department stopped detaining prostitutes because finding them was more lucrative. In 2013, it was proposed to abolish the policy, and finally in December 2019, it was done. Okay, guys, this is the end of my part and end of the first group presentation. So here I have summarized all discussion questions taken also from previous parts of my group mates, and we would like you to participate in discussion and to choose any interested question and share your opinion in the learning discussion section. So thank you all for your attention. Keep healthy. Goodbye.